Thought I'd ask. Had a really good breakfast sitting at home.
Try not to. Let's try that again.
Hello. It's gonna be a good day.
It's gonna be a good day.
We've already said it started off fantastic, and we'll see. Hopefully it gets better.
Absolutely, but look, we're on both today.
That's fantastic.
So
at least we don't have to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the little things.
It is.
It is totally. So
this is Kmberbell's.
This is spring showers, not hello.
Not hello spring showers.
Hello spring showers. How are you today?
Spring showers.
So there isn't anything like super, oh, don't do that. But there are a few things that we'll talk about that are definitely not in everything that has been done before. So a few new little things, and let's get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Sarah has got hers.
Mine's underneath yours.
Underneath mine, and she still has hers in rows.
I do. Yeah.
So
yeah, you can see the different parts a little closer. What about it?
How much is it?
$19.99.
It's on the website.
They're asking if we have one in the expected date.
No, we do not, and
no, we don't.
Don't have a date either.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Good morning. Welcome to Friday morning.
Yes, you just never know. Yeah, so you really can't, we can't quite condense this so that you can see the whole thing on the camera.
No, but maybe if we kind of use a little bit of mine and a little bit of yours, we can shift
a little bit
easier. So the first thing that is definitely very,
what do you want me to get?
Your rows,
my rows,
so that we can kind of shift blocks a little bit better, I think. And let's start at the top and work our way down. How about that?
Yeah, good morning.
So good morning, Vicki. So the first things that you'll come across in the book, depending upon how you are, if you are just starting at the front and working your way back or whatnot, are going to be the umbrellas. And they have iron-on vinyl. So that is a definite switch from the traditional vinyl that we've been using in other
glitter or leather,
all of those things that we literally are sewing on versus fusing to. So we just wanted to kind of touch on that. If anybody wants to create more of those, we do have the iron-on vinyl here available in store. So
it's buried under here. We'll show it, and then I'll plop it up on in the comments.
And you guys can find it there. So these are going to go together a little bit differently. It's a smoother.
Yeah.
You don't have the multiple steps. You don't place the fabric, trim, and then place the vinyl and trim, and then you're not sewing through all of those different pieces. So it's not as heavy when you're stitching, which is nice. And it also has a much smoother feel. It doesn't have the hard edge of the vinyl around there. So it has a much softer feel to it when it's finished, which I really like. But it still has that
Yeah, it's
that look
the look.
of,
Yes.
of the
Looks
umbrella
like a regular,
or
yeah, like the slicker on an umbrella. So.
Absolutely. So, there are three, two
Yes.
that are up and one that's been caught by the wind and blowing around there. So there we go. I can't quite move mine around as well.
Yeah.
So Sarah's, if you hadn't already heard,
I did some different fabrics.
She's stashing
Yes.
hers. So picking stuff out of stash fabrics versus pulling from a specific kit, which is what mine was pulled from our store kit.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you use vinyl?
This vinyl is fusible, and you fuse it to the right side of the fabric. That's one of those things that you really have to pay attention to, because we're so used to fusing things. Like when we put, it feels a lot like a fusible web when you're messing around with it. So you have to make sure that it goes to the back of your, not to your back of your fabric. So you're going to peel it off first.
Yep.
So it is going to be smooth on the top, but not sticky. So you peel it off like a sticker, and then you take the sticker part and you put it on the right side of the fabric. And then you need to make sure that you cover it either with the piece.
Do not hit that directly with your iron. You want to have a press cloth in between your iron and that fusible vinyl.
Absolutely. So either the back part of the part that you pulled off, or something else to go between that. That is the number one super duper duper important thing, is you will melt that baby if your iron touches it.
And that will continue throughout. So once you've sewn it in, don't hit it with your iron directly. So as you are pressing along in seams and whatnot, make sure that you keep that pressing cloth or whatever it is that you're using handy, so that you can continue to cover that as you're pressing the project. Because you will be continuing to press here and there along the way as we're putting pieces together and whatnot. So just make sure that you're prepared and have something to make sure you're not going to tap that, because you don't want to go through all that and then ruin it.
Right.
That's no fun.
And then I think the other block on row 1 that we should talk about is
that little guy there, because it is definitely, you got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. There's lots of things going on in there. So you have velveteen.
Yes.
We have standard fabrics. That is not going to be chenilled. And then we have chenille.
Yes.
So there's lots of things that are going on, and it's kind of a weird chenille because it is round and circular instead of the straight lines that we're so used to. So it was a little weird to cut.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have your chenilling tool, which I love my chenille, that does not work. It's not going to do you any good here. And then to throw off just a little bit more, we also have glitter over there. So lots of,
and the flex foam in there as well. So
and you've got some poof going on underneath there. So there's lots of different things that are going on in one block here. Not that it's hard. There's just like, you almost feel like, am I really doing this right? Because there's so many different things that you're throwing into one block.
Exactly.
But it's really pretty.
It is really cute, and you really have to pay attention. So I'm going to show you my boo-boo here. So I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Ooh, there you go. So just a little bit, my fabric pulled away. So there's a little white right here. Because when you are stitching this, so you're going to have like more than one placement line. So you've got your placement line for your flex foam, and then you're going to trim it, and then you're going to put your fabric on over top of that. When I was trimming my fabric, I tend to trim my fabric super close. And what happened is I snipped one of those little threads on the outside. And then when it was going through and doing all of the decorative stitches, it pulled in to the corner, and then it pulled it away
from.
That
is a silky solid.
Yes.
Which means it's not quite as dense of a fabric. So it doesn't take as much for that to happen. So just be very careful. You've got that extra push from underneath.
Yep.
Some extra pull from a super wide satin stitch. Plus you've got decorative stitching on top. In addition. So lots going on again for all of those different pieces. The velveteen has the same thing, but of course that one's nice and heavy. So there's not quite as many concerns with that. And then the lower cloud here. Are you planning to
No.
not going to do it?
Mm-mm. Nope. I decided I didn't want to. So I actually put my velveteen
I saw that.
on the bottom one, which was the one that was supposed to be chenilled. And then I put just regular fabric over on these two here. No, I decided you had already mentioned how much of a pain it was to kind of clip into those little pieces.
It wasn't as easy as it normally is.
Yes.
Obviously I made it. So,
Yes.
you know, it wasn't that impossible by any stretch, but it's definitely a little bit weird. I feel like I want to go back and trim some of my little bits here because you have points where there's longer pieces of fabric that are bothering me a little bit.
Yeah.
They just feel a little out of place because they're all different, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just very different from norm.
Right. And chenille is one of those things you kind of either love it or you hate it. And I'm really not.
You're not a lover.
I'm not a big chenille fan. So I chose to omit that on mine.
Well,
and
that's okay. That's the lovely thing about all of this is you have choices.
Yes. So if you don't want to take the time to get in there and snip those pieces, or you think you'll be like Lisa and you'll be like, there's pieces in here that are not exactly the same
I
size.
just need to tweak it a little
Yeah,
bit, you know,
so
now that I've roughed it up. So it's
feel-free.
fuzzy now. And being fuzzy, I'm like, okay, I need to clean that a little bit.
Yep.
It just needs a little trim.
Yeah.
But I do like the look. I think it's fun. And it gives it a little bit of character. So I do like chenille. But it's funny, I couldn't say chenille for the longest time. It's not that I didn't know what it was. I always wanted, it was Chanel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why,
That's
because
okay.
my brain knew, but that message could not get to my mouth
That's
to say
okay.
a darn thing.
Right.
But you know, if you're not going to, you could have if you're planning to not do that, you could have some fun with some thread choices and maybe put in some, you know, brighter colors or something like that. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to skip that, you could put in like maybe some blues or something to pull that in and brighten that up or whatnot if you wanted to have some fun with that too. So just some other options there. But that row itself really was quite simple. The trimming of that was very easy. I wasn't really sure. It was the first time I'd really played with that a lot. But I really liked it. And I can definitely get behind doing that again. I like the look and the feel of that better than the heavier clear vinyl over fabric, stitching through it, trimming it, and then that really hard rough edge.
Yeah.
I love this. This is really, really great.
It is nice.
So should we go to row 2?
Let's go to row 2.
Okay. So row 2 has a whole lot going on. Let's start on the left just because that's where we're at in the camera. So let's just talk these guys here. I followed most of the directions fairly well. So this little butterfly right here, that is how it's supposed to be stitched with that. There was actually a pretty large piece of glitter that was provided in the kit for that. So I had a huge chunk left over and I was like, wouldn't that birdie look pretty with a glitter wing? So I used the leftover.
I did exactly the same
and made a glitter wing for that birdie. So, and then I did the same, I believe. Where's that little guy? He's down here, right?
Yep.
There's another, where's the other bird? Right here.
Yeah.
So in the next row, I did the same with that. There's one more bird down at the bottom. I could have found glitter to do that, but I didn't.
I did the same thing.
So for the most part, I did follow directions, but that was one thing. I was just like, I've got the glitter. It's literally here. I'm going to use it. There's one bird, hindsight. I don't remember what order I did things in, but I would add glitter to that third one just so that they all have glitter wings. But my third poor little guy down there, he's a little bland. He's a little plain.
Yeah, maybe add some rhinestones.
I could totally do that. I can
that
bling
way.
him out. I can totally bling him out. Maybe I will do that. Give him a little something going on.
Absolutely.
But that is something that I did change. Otherwise, these are pretty much what I was told to do. I know. I do try to make the store sample fairly well, whatever the book says, so that you guys can see what it would look like if you follow the directions. So the embellishments that are going to be added here are these tiny little buttons in the centers of the flowers there. I did hot glue those on. It says to sew them. You guys know I don't hand sew. And those tiny little guys are super hard to put on with a machine. You can do it if you're very slow on the needle movements.
Yeah,
I
they
have,
shifts around a little
they
bit.
shift and it's super easy to break them because it takes almost nothing. And it's really hard to get the machine to hold that without cracking it.
Mhm.
So I just hot glued it. This is going to be a wall hanging. It's not going to be a quilt like lap quilt. So I was like, who cares? It's
Mhm.
just going to go up on the wall. So I did hot glue those in place instead of
Sewing them
down. And I just put a dab of glue there
Mhm.
and then place the button on top rather than trying to glue the button
Mhm.
and then with hot glue on my fingers and everything else. That I found that one to be easier.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was the route there. We will come back to adding these guys.
We'll talk about the
we'll talk
three-dimensional
about the
parts.
three-dimensional parts. I've got all but one of those put in place, and we'll show you how that goes here in a little bit. This guy here was not hard. Again, you've got
This time that block
this
took a
one
little
was
while.
it was you've got foam
Mhm.
underneath in there. Did you do anything different on yours?
Don't think I did.
Pretty close to the same.
Mhm. I
Sorry.
didn't like just my colors are a little bit different, but
Yep.
everything else I didn't trim my little points yet or
Yep,
of
your
that off.
jumps.
Yeah.
But everything looks pretty close to the same. You've got so I used the threads from the thread kit that we put together. You used obviously
Mhm.
stuff from your stash along with fabrics from your stash, but you've
Mhm.
got the felt. You used the embellishment
I
kit.
did. Mhm.
So the felts that you have and whatnot are the same there. So
And I put my blocks together different.
opposite.
Yes. Not intentionally, just putting them together, wasn't paying attention. So
And it doesn't matter.
really matter.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I also put one of my cloud. It's okay. Everybody can see it. So my clouds and my
Her
raindrops.
raindrops.
It's raining really hard this day. It's raining so hard that the rain is just coming up from the ground.
On that side.
On that side, yeah. So I totally put my block together backwards.
It's,
upside down.
It's the little things in life.
Mm-hmm.
But
we've got the leather and the
Yep.
little cork. So really nothing super special about those.
no, and you have an excess. The size pieces
Yeah,
on that.
Plenty of space.
Holy crow, I've got so much cork left over. I like one piece that I
Mhm.
cut for something I used on almost everything. I was like, oh, that's enough to use there. It's
Mhm.
still enough to use over there. And
Yep.
I was just like, wow, there's tons of cork here. So there's plenty of cork.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a huge piece. And again, you've got that flex foam underneath in here. So you've got nothing hard, just a little bit different than what we have had in the past,
Mhm.
and a lot more poof in different areas. These guys, I was really glad I didn't have to sew those. I was
Mhm.
glad that was going to be in the hoop. So I'm going to slide yours down a little bit. Actually, can we move mine too?
Yes, we can.
There we go.
Yeah.
So these guys here, not difficult,
No.
just steps,
Mhm.
right? So these are what we were talking about, and super easy in the hoop. I laid all of my fabric pieces. I looked it up and then I made a pile. So I
Yep.
made sure I grabbed the right piece at the right time. And that made it much easier. So I didn't get to,
Right.
the end and go, oh crap, now what? Because I don't have the right piece.
Mhm.
So I do recommend when you're doing something like that paper piecing type thing in there that you pile everything before you start. And that will ensure that when you get there, you end up with the right thing and not the blue over here and the green over here, so that you're not
Mhm.
sorry that you don't have that flow.
Right.
That's the ones that you're looking for there. The quiltings that we have here, we've got a couple different options for you.
Mhm.
If you pre-ordered, you got our quilting patterns available to you. I used some of ours and I did use some of Kmberbell's. I did mix and match
Me
a
too.
little bit. This one, I have the bird.
Yep.
And you have the circle.
Right. It's really hard to see on here.
Yeah.
Probably can't tell. Where is it? There we go.
You can see it on the green a little bit
Yeah.
there. You can see the circles. So
Just
I
a
have
little
the
bit.
birds stitched here,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this bird facing that way and this bird facing that way, just so that they're
Yep.
a little bit different, which we did include both of them so
Mhm.
that you don't have to mirror image it or anything. They're both already in there. So I have birds here, and then I have the circle
Down
on the other,
one. Yep.
and then my four corners are the circle, which
Mhm.
they're all that 4x4
Yeah.
block. So you have those options there. These little guys here, I trimmed super close,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't rinse them.
I didn't rinse mine either. And I didn't even really trim super close. So you can still see a little bit of the stuff on the outside. I thought it really just kind of added a little bit.
It just gives it a little something, something.
So we're talking about
the wings for the bumblebees. It just gives you a little edge there. And then I like to give it more 3D. So I bend mine up once, you're
exactly
actually done. You can leave them flat, of course, while you're working. And then I did follow the pattern in there so that
me too.
You've got a little bit of a different doodle on them. I don't know if you guys noticed that when you were originally looking at it. So to get the right flip, whatnot, I would pay attention to how you're putting those together. Does it really matter? No. But I think you'll be happier with them if they're not,
Absolutely.
I think if they're hodgepodged instead of in a row.
But
and then what?
I was just going to say, this is a really good, like how much adding the embellishments really does.
It really does add a lot to that block.
Right.
Absolutely. And I was curious to see if there was hey, I've got room. Can I make this one big block? And there's not.
No.
This is only done in 2 hoopings. There is not I've got a big enough hoop. Where's my big block to put this together? So
you would really have to manipulate this in your software.
And it's not worth it because it's super easy. There's nothing that you have to line up specifically. So don't stress yourself over it. You're going to waste more time trying to get it to line up in the hoop than you will be to sew them together. So don't stress over that. Just sew them separately and call it a day.
Yep.
So the leaves are very easy. And all I did was I sewed a V right on that outside stitch line. These I did rinse. So I don't have the excess. But I just sewed right on that outside stitch line so that they are 3D and they come up a little bit. You got your leaves there.
Yeah.
So rinsing, I did rinse off.
Backside.
I didn't over rinse, so they're a little stiff. They're not super soft, but you can see the
if you just, like she's saying, that she just
so sorry,
sort of sewed on that.
And I just sewed the tips so that the leaves are still loose.
Yep.
And I just sewed that V. And I did follow the picture. So the placement, you can of course put them anywhere you want. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't going where they're supposed to be these lovely things. Ugh. Ugh.
They're just tennis balls.
Is that what they are?
They're tennis balls.
With wings? Okay. We'll go with that. But you have leather here. You also have poof in here.
It's cute.
So honestly, this wigs me. Like
more.
Yeah. That's nope, don't like beehives at all. Yeah, that
it's not there.
Yeah.
I got your back.
Thank you. I really don't like beehives. That one's let's just, yep, there we go. Let's just cover that.
Moving right along.
And next. But it was not difficult to stitch.
No.
It was a longer stitch because there's a lot of stitching in there. So it did take a hot second to stitch it. But the but it was not difficult. It just took a minute. So I absolutely love this.
It's super cute.
I just love there's Mylar underneath. So this was more traditional how we've been doing vinyls.
Yep.
But you're going to put Mylar underneath and stitch that and then tear away the excess. Then you're going to put vinyl on top of it. And it's just super sharp. So you've got that glitter underneath, underneath the vinyl. And it's just, I think it's so sharp.
Yeah,
And
it
your
is really
stitches, the letters are underneath. So that vinyl is the last thing that you're putting on there. So, and it's got a nice edge to it. It's not like the windows that we've been doing that are so
it's
hard.
not too bad.
I mean, I could still put my head down there and not feel like I was going to get stabbed with the corner of a window or something like that.
That corner very well.
So, but I mean, it's not, we don't have sharp edges. It's smooth. And the stitch line is nice and heavy. So you were able to get nice and close. And so it's still really, really nice there. So again, really, really sharp. I actually used one of Kmberbell's there. You used one of ours.
I did. I used
that's really
yours.
that's really funny. How we swapped where we did what. It's cute how we chose different.
Yes, sometimes exactly the same thing, and then sometimes something completely
we
different.
just completely flip flopped who chose what where.
Yeah,
so funny. But I guess that's what the choices are all so fantastic.
Right.
And we also didn't. Different colors, things look different. So even the same stitch looks different with a different color of quilting. It's just kind of neat to see it. So there is quite a bit of choice in our quilt patterns because there's, the 4x6 options and there's 6x6 options and things. So you can mix and match what you want to go where.
Absolutely.
It's the same way as if you did get the Kmberbells. So there's quite a bit of choice so that you can play. To whatever it is that you wanted it to be.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice.
Absolutely.
And all of ours do you have in the batting option. So, you could stitch that in and remove that out of your stitch seam allowance.
Yep.
So.
And ironically, my my embellishment kit did not include a shoelace.
Really?
So I got a special one. Yes. So no shoelace for me, which was okay. I figured I could always add a like a ribbon or something if I wanted to later. But I didn't omit it for any other reason than
you didn't have one.
I didn't have it, and I didn't really realize I didn't have it until I was like actually started stitching this block, and I'm like, where is that? So I went back and double checked and triple checked, and
I wonder if it's like on the floor somewhere underneath something and that you had it, but
well, I did crawl underneath the cutting counter and I had the phone out and I'm like, I threatened the cat. I'm like, did you run off with the shoelace? Now he didn't answer, of course.
He didn't.
But I looked in all of his usual hiding spaces and I didn't come across one. And I had circled on my cutting list that I didn't have it originally and just didn't realize where it went. And it was like that thing, where I ran out of mesh and I was like, I completely forgot why I didn't finish my project. It was one of those things. I just completely put it out of my mind. So my boots don't have those on them.
The pull handle top things. Yeah.
But it's okay.
They're still very cute.
They
and
are.
You've got kitty cat fabric.
I do.
I didn't notice that until just now. That is really, really cute.
My boots have cats on them because in my house there's cats. So
that's really, really cute.
Yep.
So the flowers are very cute. They really add a lot of oomph in there. So when you are stitching, and again, this is going to be that iron-on vinyl. So same steps that you were following for the other, you're going to be following here. So please make sure that iron is set up. Pressing cloth is available, and you're going to have
on the front.
It's going on the front. So pretty side of your fabric is where that's going, and you need it fused before you put it in the hoop. This isn't going on as a separate step. This is all part of the fabric when you're putting it into the projects. So super cute. It stitches so nice and it trims. It's just so much easier than having that heavier multiple layer, and it looks so cute. The actual shoelace piece is not hard at all. You get positioning and placement lines and everything. So assuming y'all did get one in your kit, it is very easy to actually place that in position and to be able to use those.
There we
the very cute and certainly easy.
Yeah.
And if you decide you don't want them, it's super easy to skip it if you would choose to do that as well.
Yep.
So again, we both used excess glitter from other spots.
Yeah, my little birdie doesn't stand out as much as yours on this fabric.
Yeah,
He's kind of blends in,
that's all right.
but still super cute.
Yep.
I purposely did not trim the excess pieces on this so that you could see. Mine came out like a hot mess. So it is,
Yeah, that's a little hard to.
right? Like I can read this.
The spring
when
isn't bad. Your showers is holy crow.
It really did come out like a hot mess.
Yeah, mine's definitely clearer.
So
Looks like I didn't trim them all. I got a big jump over there I missed.
Yeah.
But definitely clearer than yours.
I think honestly, if I had this block to do again, I think I would just skip the words in there. They're tiny. And I think that I would just leave them. Like Lisa's came out really well, and it's just regular.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Right,
I
right.
was just like, oh, what's gonna happen here? I really wasn't sure.
Yep.
You know, it's one of those spots that you just don't know. And it's really a what is your machine in the mood to do today kind of moments, because you just don't know. It's definitely a crapshoot.
Yes, it is. So Lisa and I are both sewing on the same machine. We were using the same type of thread. And we got two completely different results.
Very, very different results.
I even put a new needle in before I got to that part, because I thought, well, I had been stitching the majority of this project. And still, like I said, the first one, I was like,
I figured I was like, well, it'll be what it is.
Yep.
So if it comes out great, and if it doesn't, it's going to be what it is.
Yes.
But, so I was very pleasantly surprised how well it came out. I wonder what that was. Bread?
No, my little mini iron just fell off.
It didn't fall off. It just fell over.
Fell over. Yeah.
So these
they're super
little
cute.
buckles, I just absolutely love. I think they're super cute. And I was itching to put them on. It was killing me to wait.
Yeah.
I really was like, I gotta put these on. But they sat there taped on for the longest time. So there is a little felt buckle piece, so little tabs. So you're going to stitch these little guys, and then you're going to cut on right around those lines. So your choice of how much of a edge that you want, and I just think they're absolutely adorable. And then those little buckles that are there are in the embellishment kit. There's little X's of where you're going to sew. So I slid that on, and then I just used my button tack down to sew the tabs down here that keep. So this actually will slide a little bit. It moves in there, but both ends are sewn in place so that the piece can't fall off.
Right.
And I took the foot off the machine, and I just put the ankle down and did the button tack down stitch. So it was holding everything in place. Everything was in front of the ankle.
Yep.
And it worked perfect. It was super easy. And
but this is what they will look
that's
like.
what they look like prior to.
Before. Yep. And then I'll add mine later when I add my buckle.
Yep. So you will get marks if you want to get marks. Did you get marks?
I did not stitch my marks.
I was going to say, I don't see marks.
Nope.
But they are in the pattern. If you want to stitch that, you do get markings as to where to put them, or you can not and just put them wherever the heck you want.
Yep.
So, which obviously is what you're going to do.
Totally. Yes.
Imagine that. You're going to do what you want to do.
I am. I'm going to follow my own
Good morning.
instructions. That's not a big surprise.
And now one more row. And this guy has, am I totally killing everything?
No, it's all good. The bobbin thing just fell over.
Okay. All right. So this row, there was a lot going on.
There was a lot.
There's a
going on.
lot going on in this row. So this is one more of these guys here, and this is, I did that same circular. I don't know if you can see it quite. You can still see a little bit more on yours.
Green, yeah.
And then there's a
Cloud.
just a 2x2 piece here. In ours, there's clouds. Obviously, you used a Kmberbell one there.
Yeah, we have little honeycombs and bees that are in 2x4. So there's a couple different choices.
Yep. That's funny. We did the same one.
Yeah.
I was just looking. What did I do? Yep, I did the same one as you.
Yep.
Look at that. This is the little bird that I was saying I would have. I think I did that one early. I did like a lot of the word pieces early.
Yeah.
And then I went in and did other pieces. So I certainly have glitter and whatnot. So I can definitely bling him out. But
yeah.
I don't want him to feel left out. And I see you added
I added a glitter flower. And I omitted the little pieces on the inside, partially because my fabrics weren't plain. So there was already a lot going on of stuff going on in there. So I just skipped over that piece. So Lisa's flowers, because she used the kits, which were the recommended fabrics from the Kmberbell book, they're solids. Right. So there's nothing going on the inside of her flowers. And I already had some stuff going on the inside of my flowers. So I just elected to skip that part. So you can, of course, do the same thing if you wish to. But that was a fun block to make. It
was very cute and not hard.
No.
Though I was surprised how long it took.
Yeah.
Between all of the trimming and then all of the stitches, it definitely had a lot going on. And then all of the cork. So these here are 2 blocks that are going to come together. We've got raindrops in ours, and then you've got the lattice piece, and you've lined them up beautifully. Nice job. And I'm sure you totally had everything to do with that.
They really did just line themselves up, which was kind of nice.
Kind of nice when that works out that way, right?
Yep.
And then the last one that we've got over here is the wagon. My wagon's a little bit off the camera, which is absolutely fine. It looks very, very similar to yours. Can you imagine?
Right. They really did look pretty close.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So in mine, I have the feather background quilting, and you chose the one that I did here.
Yes.
And then I did throw in a 2x2 little guy that you can add in. So I've got a little, almost looks like a little hummingbird at the flower. So that's just a little added in guy there that I threw in.
Very cute.
Just a little something extra. And then the beautiful flowers. So we definitely need to talk about those flowers a little bit.
Yes.
The cork was super simple. And again, you've got plenty. If you've got that embellishment, you could certainly sub in something else if you didn't. But I think the cork really sells it. So I would definitely recommend keeping with the cork.
Me too.
But
it's really easy to work with. Yeah,
it's super easy.
There's lots of different types of cork that's available. So this one is pretty easy to use. It's not super heavy. It probably wouldn't be my choice of cork to make like a wallet or a bag out of, because it doesn't have as much backing on it. But it's absolutely perfect for this. Easy to cut around and then stitch, but enough backing that when it did the satin stitch around it, it didn't perforate through it. Yep. So soft enough for that, but yeah, really cute.
Yep. So again, I glued my flowers because I know that this is going to be a wall hanging. So when I did them, I put as many in the hoop as I could. So these are basically what this basically was. And so I would, bulk up and put what I could in a hoop. And when you go to trim these, it's going to have you stitch with 2 colors. I do recommend doing the 2 color. So one color is going to be the trim line, and then there's going to be an accent line, which is actually going to be seen.
Yep.
So, so sorry, pardon. You can see the light color versus the dark color, and the dark color is actually staying there. The light color is actually the cut line. And I highly recommend straight scissors versus curved, because you want to have 100% control over where you're going. So you're literally going to be cutting right on that lighter line. So if you miss a stitch or whatever, first of all, they're going to come off because you're going to cut most of them. So if you miss one, it will fall off. But that is the cut line, is that piece. The dark line is going to stay there. So you want to have that be obvious, I guess. On a darker piece, you could reverse that. So on mine, and it's way too far away, I realize that, but I have the lighter color as my accent, and the darker color was my cut line. And then in your kit, you've got the little felt balls. The little felt balls, and they have you cut those in half and glue that into place, and then wrap around and around and around. So let's talk about that.
What do you want to start? Which one?
It
doesn't matter.
Really
Is the
matter.
one easier than the other?
They're pretty much the same. That's great. Real quick, let's talk about this guy.
Okay.
Because cutting it was kind of a pain in the rump. To get those petals that really pop, this was my favorite from a visual standpoint. It was my least favorite to cut. And I really got in as far as I could. And you can tell. And
Yeah.
I think it turned out really, really beautiful as a flower, but it was a pain in the bum to cut. But what you want to do, and you can see from the, that if you actually cut on that outside line, it's going to be super, super close to that bottom that you're going to cut all the way through. You obviously don't want to cut all the way through or else you will just have a whole bunch of small pieces of felt. It's not going to do you any good. Okay. Yep. So you want to cut down, but not completely through. And I see that you, you've snipped in, right?
Well, that was my plan. So to kind of do this and then snip in so that there was fat, because I didn't really think I could get into the V very well. It's really kind of flimsy.
It is.
So once you start trying to trim there, so I kind of just did this all the way around. And then my plan was to essentially go back through and just snip down in between. And of course you have to have, it has to be sharp in between your scissors so that we could get the petals essentially apart.
So what you're going to do, and my brain wants to start here. That's not where you start.
No.
You're going to start on the outside. And if you are using one of the little felt balls, you're going to glue that to this spot right here. So that's going to be the starting point. And then you're going to start to turn. So obviously if there's a little circle in there, you're going to be wrapping around that. And that's what you're going to be building from. But you're literally going to start and roll. And you're going to want to rinse this first because you will see that back edge. So for all of us who like to try to skip that when we can, this is not one of those times, unfortunately. And so you're literally going to, and I'm going to do a really crappy fast job here so that you guys can
try to go up a little more. I know that's weird.
All right. So we're going to literally wrap. And I'm pulling a little bit as I go. And now I have this base. So what I want to do is flip it over. Okay. Where am I going? This way.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm going to hot glue here
to the base.
And that becomes the base of my flower. So this is going to fill in that whole piece and it's going to kind of squish the glue in there
and then kind of holds your whole
and it
flower
holds
together.
everything together so that this is my flower. So you're literally just going to roll it all up, and then we're going to glue the back. You can put the glue here, or you can put the glue here, but I put it literally all over there so that when I squished this in, it just pushed the glue into the flower and it set everything in place. And then if you need to add, you can add more in particular area.
Mhm.
And then when you flip it over, I kind of manipulated
Mm-hmm.
so that I got it where I wanted it, but you've got your
Little itty bitty flower.
little itty bitty rose looking guy on this one, which is these guys here. This one here has a stem. These here, do you have this one? So there's a stem for the dark one. Notice there's no stem for the other two. They're just going to sit like on
a leaf,
in front of a leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's this one. This one here is the large pink one. And then over here, the tipped over pot are the two yellows. And they do each have a stem. So those are going to be that. Again, these are my absolute favorites. They are so cute.
They are very cute.
But a pain to cut, unfortunately. The stitching doesn't make a difference. They all stitch exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
The cutting was a challenge, and it took some time. So this is basically what I did is I got rid of the bulk
Mm-hmm.
of the stabilizer. So I had a piece left, and then I just started around. You're going to be able to see the inside, and you get a straight edge. And then I started to go back out and do the zig edge, depending upon which flower it was that I was cutting. Take your time with this. You'll be much happier than if you're trying to make that go too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time because they are absolutely adorable. And I think you're going to love them, but make sure that you
absolutely
take that few extra minutes because they turned out super, super cute. I got a few little glue. I kept smushing this one. I wanted him to sit open. I want it to be like,
you probably have to, maybe if you,
so you know, like when the sun
in,
comes out and
yeah,
they say, hello, sun. That's what I want it to do.
You could maybe snip in just a
Maybe.
little more. I mean, not all the way through, but just teeny,
I mean,
tiny bits.
it looks like the pictures.
Yeah.
But
if you wanted, if you made another one, maybe you could snip a little closer in, just one little snip.
Yeah, and I didn't wrap it super tight because
you wanted it to lay.
I wanted it to lay open a little bit
Yeah.
more. But, and of course, if you don't have an embellishment kit and you're just using felt, so you don't have that, you can wrap without the center. You would just do them like this.
Yep.
It would be the same way. So those felt flowers were not hard, but they are a little time consuming, but just take that time. I think you're going to be way happier with that than if you try to half-ass it and and then when you're all done, you're like, man, that didn't turn out like I thought it was going to.
Yep. The only thing we didn't talk about were the corner blocks.
Yep.
Nothing special
Nothing
about
there.
The corner blocks, except for there is an especially
extremely heavy amount of stitching in that center. So by the time you get to that third even petal, it's like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk when it's stitching all the way around there. So by the time it gets to the fourth one, it's literally moving the block as it's stitching in that center piece. And then I did just, I didn't sew, mostly not because I couldn't have sewn that size. I didn't want to put any more thread in there. I was like, I'm not sewing through all of that. There's no way. So I did glue these buttons on as well. Again, not because I couldn't sew that. I already knew how much thread was in that position. And I was like, I'm not going to fight with that.
Right.
Just not going to happen. The only other thing is these guys here. So the 3Ds and the 3D pieces, you've got ladybugs, you have bumblebees, and you have mushrooms. And they are to be applied using the safety pins, which they call them curved safety pins. I don't find them to be very curved. They're slightly curved, but I've seen curved safety pins
with more curve.
with more curve than these.
Yeah, I would
We'll
agree.
just say that. All right. So this particular one goes all the way up on the top. But what it wants you to do is this little guy goes right here.
Yeah.
All right. So you could glue it, but it's fuzzy and I'm not really sure how well that would really work. So what they want you to do is from the back of the quilt, stab that and hook. All right. Okay. So I'm like, where's the magic in that? Yeah. how does that one happen? Right. So I have gotten, now that I've gotten all but this one done, am I moving anything?
Nope.
That's okay. So what I have done is find the position, and then basically I reached around the back and I pushed so that I'm pinching the area. So you can literally see that I'm pinching around whatever that is, and then stabbing through that area on the back of the quilt. And closing that safety pin. Then when I come back to the front,
ta-da,
he's in place. All right. The first time I did that, I missed. And then I was like, oh yeah, I see what I did. Okay. And then I hit every time. So that's the easiest way I can recommend. If you guys have a better way, God bless. And please carry forth. But the trying to literally stab up, get it to go through, it's all over the place. It's let's just do.
There you go.
It's all over. I give up. But the stabbing it up, that does not work because they're not curved enough to come back through.
Right.
So outside of, okay, this is where it needs to be, and just going through the back, trying to come up into the front, moving over, I couldn't get that to work.
Right.
I tried. But again, if you can,
great,
please, fantastic.
Yes.
But that is the easiest way that I can tell you to do that. So all of that being said, let's talk about what we've got hidden under here.
Yeah. So we thought maybe we would share some of our favorite tools that we
things that we used to complete
this and a variety of other Kmberbell
and other stuff.
A lot of times we don't talk about
I need these.
the stuff. So the Karen K, we'll start with the scissors. So Karen K Buckley, that's what these are. They're called perfect scissors, and they come in a variety of different shapes. So we have the small and the medium. There's also a large version. What's special about these is the type of blade and the opening. So you can see, like, I can get some fingers in here, right? A lot of times when you have
something that small, your fingers don't fit in the opening.
They're little holes like these. But these are really nice.
I meant to buy these. We can open them.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna take a pair of these little guys home.
As you can see, we don't tend to tell you to that you should use stuff that we don't actually have to have ourselves.
Where did I lose
it
the
can't
lid?
be far.
It was right here.
It was.
It'll turn up.
Yep.
Oh, here it is. So they do come with
a nice cover,
a
so
snap,
you don't stab yourself.
because they are super duper sharp. I got marks all over me to prove how sharp stuff is right now. But these are really nice, and you can. I mean, I can get
two fingers in there, right?
I mean, seriously, that's
saying a lot.
Saying a lot. So, and they are very sharp and work very, very, very well.
You wouldn't have a problem using the tip of them for this project here. See how easy that is. So this is why you want something like this, because it really is super fine. It's not gonna.
It says right on the package, sharp to the point.
Yep, it's super fine. Super fine. Like super fly.
Superstar. What is her name? the cheerleader from Saturday Night Live.
I know exactly who you're talking about. We'll
Sorry.
think of it in a little while. Oh, we're always off on something, aren't we?
Sorry.
Oh, all right.
So, and these are just a
Smattering of them.
larger size.
Yeah.
So these little guys are really, really great when you're trying to get in small spots because who doesn't have that problem at some point?
Yep.
That you just, these are great, but they're too big for whatever it is that I'm doing, which is why we found these perfect little guys, and they're like my favorite color.
Yeah.
So these little ones are $21.99. The medium size here are $29.50, and same.
Yep.
Basic. These are a micro serrated blade, so fantastic. They're very similar
in style.
in
Yes.
style to this. We've got more of these coming. We are out at the moment.
Yeah, these are a harder plastic, and these are a softer
grip.
rubber.
Yep.
So I know some people, if texture, like
it just depends.
Yeah, if you don't like that that rubber style feel, you will want those.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why there's different handle choices, because they have a slightly different feel to them.
That you are not wrong.
No.
I'd never had both in my hand at the same time. There's a difference.
Absolutely.
So skizzers, super duper important.
Yeah. So
Put that
those
with
are
my
going to
stuff.
be what you want for
straight edge trimming.
Yes, trimming these style things. Those are not going to work.
Curved edge is a whole different ball of wax when you're trying to do things like that, because you're not going to get that straight, beautiful edge that you need.
Right.
So these are very similar.
They really are exactly the same, but they're pink, and they have a different texture. So there is a rubber coating.
There's a coating on those.
So again, it's literally just these are, if you want something that's colorful, but I believe that the reason that these are a little bit more expensive than these is because of this extra rubber gripped tip.
Yep.
So it does feel a little bit different in your hands, but it's a substantial price difference. They really are both 6-inch double curve embroidery scissors. The pickle pie design ones are $35, and the Fomore ones are $18. If I had to wager a guess, I would guess that Fomore probably makes both versions, and they just add the extra rubber on the edge of that. So
I shouldn't have picked at that.
Oops.
Yeah. Don't do that.
But they really are the same thing. And again, I know some of us really like things to be super matchy. And some people, again, it has to do with that, how it feels in your hand. So some people don't like the feel of the steel. And these are surgical grade coating for comfort grip. But again, the same style. So these are what Lisa's and I's favorite
Absolutely
applique scissors. So we use these for trimming all of the applique pieces in our hoops, the batting around the outside edges when you're getting that out of your seam allowance. So these again are our favorite tools for using those. And then we talked about that the vinyl.
Yes, that is fantastic stuff. So if you haven't ever used it before, this is the first time. If you got the embellishment kit and you're like, wow, this is really cool stuff, I want to use this on some other projects. Maybe you want to make some other things that have that iron-on vinyl. Or maybe you said, well, I didn't buy the embellishment kit and I need some. That is the same stuff here.
Right. And there are many brands out on the market. So I'm not going to tell you that they all are the same.
They are not all created equal.
This one is made by Lazy Girl, she's a bag maker, and it's the slicker, and this is the glossy one, so it'll have a little bit of shine. If you like to support things that are made in the USA, this is made in the USA, which is a really nice.
We like that.
We don't get a lot of things that are made there. And these come basically in pre-cut rolls. So it's 17 inches by 36. So 17 inches by a yard. So it's about a half a yard's worth if you think about like what a half yard would be.
Right.
And this is great. It has, it's just really, really nice. It has a fantastic glue to it. It will adhere to your product really, really well. And it doesn't crack quickly. So all sort of vinyls, if given long enough time, once stitched through, if it's on like the edge of a tote bag or something like that, it can have the ability to sort of crack and peel away.
Right.
So it's definitely one of my favorites. I've used a bunch of these different versions making bags, and I like to put it at the bottom of the bag because then like when you set it down,
it doesn't
you can
get
wipe
icky.
it. Yeah. But this one is our favorite, and we have this, and it is in the store, and it's $8.99
for that 17 by 36 inch piece.
Mm-hmm.
So Lazy's Girl fusible
Yes.
iron on glossy vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
So skizzers vinyl. What else we got?
We
We
have
have a hoop mat and we got a hoop.
Yes. So I know we've talked about these hoop mats before, but they really are nice because it really does hold your project exactly where you want it to be. Like we can move the whole mat, but the
hoop's not
hoop's
moving.
not
The
moving.
mat's moving. That's the good part.
Yes. So it's really nice. And I know you used your magnetic hoop for this project.
I did.
And you
quite
hadn't
a bit.
really done a lot of applique because you're moving the hoop in and out, so you have to be careful.
I had some bad experiences in the past, and so I really shied away from using it for applique. I had no problems using it for quilting or other things like that, but when it came to when I had to slide the hoop in and out, I was like, yeah, no, we're just gonna stick with the regular. But I did use it quite a bit for this, and I just said, just do it.
Right.
Take a dive and do it. And I had not one issue. So, so nice and easy.
Exactly.
And I found a nice way to get my stabilizer in there nice and tight that worked for me. Took a couple tries of, okay, that was lots of bumps and that didn't work. Let's try again. And nope, that didn't work. And, so I got myself a little groove and pop, pop, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Have everything, pre-cut and ready to go. And
what I like about using this when you're doing like applique and things like that, where you don't have a lot of bulk, is the magnetic hoop keeps it pretty taut.
Yeah.
If you've ever, and I have had this happen more than once, I've put just a single layer of mesh or water soluble in my hoop and I've tightened it down and it's popped out of my hoop. Because you can only crank that hoop.
You can only crank the hoop so tight, where this really pinches between.
It does. It does a really nice job of holding it taut. So, and I think I always tell people, whenever you're using the magnetic hoops, you should really be taking it in
and out by pushing on this piece, not on. And so we're talking about the slide-in mechanism, not grabbing down here. Where you could actually push your project and separate the two pieces of the hoop. You should be using this section to slide it in and out, which is actually proper hoop etiquette no matter what hoop you're using.
Yes.
Nobody ever does that.
Right.
It's just the right way to do that regardless. But when you are using a magnetic hoop, it becomes even more important.
Yes. So. And then after that, Lisa and I talk a lot about like pre-starching our fabrics. I did bring the two that we use a lot here. We can open it out of the bag so it looks a little nicer on camera. So this is Terial Magic. So this is called Liquid Fabric Stabilizer. And Lisa has the Mary Ellen's Best Press. So really, we talk a lot about making sure that our projects stay nice and flat. And one of the ways to help make that happen is to starch the fabric.
Right.
If the fabric is stiffer, it's less likely to pull in and get wrinkles.
Get those puckers and different things from it. It helps it absorb all of the stitches. And that is what is happening when we're doing all of these blocks, is that needle is hitting it 20 to however many thousand times, depending upon what it is programmed for that particular block. So
Absolutely.
The more prep and the more help we can give it to support all of those, which is what stabilizer's job is. But if you can give that by fusible backing and by starch, you're giving it a better chance of success. And who doesn't want to set themselves up for success?
Exactly.
So these are some ways that you can do that.
Mary Ellen's is a lighter, lightweight, and you can apply more to
Right.
get the fabric to be as stiff as you would like. Material Magic is going to come out pretty stiff. So
Yep.
that
So-
is the big difference. This is $12.95.
And this one is $7.95.
Yes.
So for this one's 16.
They're both 16
They're
ounces.
both 16. This one's 16.9. So just
Yeah.
a hair more, but obviously a different price point, but just depends on what you want to. This one, do you press that dry? It takes a little bit longer to dry.
It does. When I'm starching, I usually starch all of my fabrics at the same time. And so what I usually do is I spray it on and I just keep layering everything on top of each other. And then once I get to the top, I flip everything
it over and then go
over
press.
and I start pressing from the bottom. So it has a little bit of time to set in. And usually it's fine after that. I don't find it taking any longer than it did with the best
How
press.
wet are you talking?
I
mean, I've seen you starch here and
Yeah,
get things pretty wet.
I would say that I saturate my fabrics. I want them to be, I want them to feel almost like cardstock when I'm embroidering. Now, when I'm quilting on them, it doesn't need to be as stiff when I'm sewing, but when I'm embroidering, I do like it to be stiffer.
I have just found this takes a little bit more drying time
Yes,
than this one though.
it definitely.
Just from a reference point for you guys, there's more time to dry here. It's going to get you there faster, but there is still more drying time here.
Yes. Yep.
So-
But yes, and it's kind of like, for me, this is more embroidery.
You don't
and
want
this
to know
is
the
more,
analogy that just
Right.
popped in my head.
and this is the one that I use more for sewing. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's
Always has to go there.
It's always, well, I didn't say
You
it.
didn't say it,
It
but
just popped in my head.
and then I think this was a really nice surprise for us, right?
Yes, because I would have bet money that I would never say those words.
We
Fully.
get asked 100 times a week about pre-wound bobbins. I want to use pre-wound bobbins. I use pre-wound bobbins. And we have stood pretty firm on our.
We don't find any of them to work. We don't find any of them to work.
Right. But we have found one that we like. So you guys know that we're big. We love Dime products. We love their hoops. We love their hooping mats. We love their thread. They have a couple of different options for pre-wound bobbins, and Lisa and I have tried them all. But
So the original ones,
Mhm.
we tried years ago.
Yes.
And we were like,
We had good success some days and bad success other
and
days.
it really depended on what kind of stitches were in the pattern.
Mhm.
So it was like, well, as long as this was like this, it was fine.
Mhm.
But as soon as it threw in this kind of stitch, all of a sudden we were seeing bobbin thread coming up, and
Yep.
and it wasn't consistent enough for us because we wanted to be able to set it and forget it. Is what that's how I want to stitch. I don't
Yep.
want to have to look at every project and go, well, I can use this bobbin for this one. I don't have time for that. I don't know about
Right.
you guys, but I don't have time for that. So that's my bobbin
Mhm.
thought process. And so speaking with our rep, she was like, oh, you should try this one. This is what I use. And I'm
And we're
like,
like,
wait a minute. There's a different one? That was my first question. And she was like, well, yeah, this is what I use in my Solaris. And I was like, can you send me a few just so I can try them? She was like, I can send you a sample. And I'm like, that would be great. So I started using them on my samples for this quilt. And I had no problems. And I was like, okay, well, let's try for quilting.
Mhm.
Nope, no problems for any of the background quilting, no problems with the satin stitches, no problems with the fill stitches. And I was like, so I came in, I'm like, Sarah, I haven't had any problems with this. Here's a few. You do it because you
Yep.
can break anything.
I can. I can't break it.
So I said, if you can't break it, then
Yep.
we'll order some of these.
And we have
And
really good
so
success.
we,
No issues.
she did the same thing and took that home, and that is what she used as well. And this is the back, and very good tensions. Nothing is coming up top. As a matter of fact, I would say if anything,
Mhm.
you've got more pulling down than you do coming up.
Yep.
So very, very good
Mhm.
all the way around. And you can't see mine anymore.
No, you
because
can't
mine
see
are
your
all covered up.
backings.
But no issues whatsoever.
None.
So for all of you who have been asking and asking and asking about pre-wounds, these are one-time use bobbins. These are not save your bobbin and then go put some other bobbin thread on them. So once you have used it, you are putting that plastic bobbin in the trash can. Don't save it. I know it's really hard because we look at it and it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. I'm sure I could use it at least one more time, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
But if you would like to use pre-wound bobbins, we do have them.
Right. And these are the spun polyester.
So that is the key. It needs to be the spun poly. They look a little bit heavier than what your typical would be. So when you're looking at it, you know, we're used to seeing that super thin, kind of silky look in our bobbin thread. That's not what it looks like.
Right.
It looks a little bit heavier. It looks a little bit more like a sewing thread bobbin than it does. So I was really nervous. I'm like,
looks a lot like the
it looks like that OESD
thread.
And I was like, oh, I tried that and it didn't work in my machine. This isn't going to work. And then I was like, but I said I was going to try it. Just do it. just do it. And good morning. And I very pleasantly surprised. So super, super happy. And I haven't had one issue yet.
And I tried it with both bobbin cases. So the standard bobbin case that has the green glue on the outside and the bingo bobbin case. And I had good luck with both. So it didn't really matter where you were version of one that you had in there. What I would like to say though is that Lisa and I both tried these out on a combo machine.
Right. That is correct. A sewing and embroidery. The embroidery only machines need a 90 weight. These are a 60 weight. At least that's what we tested it on. So, and this is not available in, at least right now.
No.
In a 90 weight.
So what I would say is if you have an embroidery only machine, we do have the ability to adjust your bobbin case tension.
Absolutely.
So if you try these and you find that your thread is pulling up to the top, we can easily fix that because we can just have your bobbin case weighted for this style.
Absolutely.
But just keeping in mind that you are changing that a little bit. So either get a second bobbin case, which is never a bad thing to have.
Nope. And you're only looking at $35 to $40.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
in
So
that range.
inexpensive to have.
Not a lot in the big picture.
No. And so you definitely can, we believe, achieve good success with this.
And there are 36 in this tube, and it is $35.
Yes.
So less than a bobbin a piece.
Less than $1 a piece.
That's what I meant to say.
But I like less than a bobbin.
Less than a bobbin a piece, guys. Yeah. I think it's time to go home.
So
where my lunch is.
Yeah, we do really, really like these bobbins. And we think that you guys will like them too.
Absolutely.
But my bobbin sensor worked.
Yep. I had no issues whatsoever.
I didn't have any issues whatsoever. And I would say that I almost successfully got through the end of the bobbin before the machine told me my thread was out and I was actually out.
I mean, there's always a little bit on there. So, I mean, there's never 100%. I mean, that's impossible.
Yep.
So, but agreed.
Yeah.
It's not wasting a lot.
No, it came really close.
And you guys can probably see these are super duper full because that's the way that they're wound, right? So that's the bonus is, you know, when you have just that little bit left on there, it's not quite as sad when you started with
according to the instructions, there are 97 yards on each of these.
If you have a yard left, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. It's definitely more than we're getting on.
Oh, definitely.
On ours. Not that I guess we probably could do the math. How many bobbins
you get out of one of those spools. It's usually between 10 and 12, closer to 12 in general. I usually say about 12. And then
I guess we could do the math backwards.
We could.
Yards on that. Yeah. So anyways, we do really like that a lot. And everything that we have shown you so far is something that you can absolutely purchase from us. We do have all of those things.
Yep.
I did want to show you one little thing that you can't purchase from us. It can be purchased on Amazon. It can be purchased at Joann's, at Michael's, all of those different places. When we're doing a lot of these things, the seams here, they can, even when we trim the batting out, they can be a little bit.
It can be tight because that batting is right up to the edge, regardless of whether it's technically in the seam allowance or not. It's right up to the edge of it.
Absolutely.
So it can be hard to press those open. And if you don't press them open and you're pressing them to one side or the other, it's hard.
It is.
It's super duper hard.
It is.
So you really got to do something with them.
So I have this little itty bitty, it's a Cricut iron. And you can see it's tiny, right? So it's a little itty bitty. And the bottom piece is really, really small. But because this is designed to get really, really hot, because you can fuse heat transfer vinyl and things like that on it, you get a lot of heat, and it's a solid plate at the bottom. So there's no holes, there's no openings, and it's really easy to apply.
Obviously, it's not on.
Some downward pressure on it. Yes.
Don't do this at home.
But you can see how easy it goes on the seams. So you don't have to worry about like heating up extra space on your pieces. If you had some of the stuff underneath here that you didn't want to get as hot, you don't have to be as careful about
of where the heat is going because it's only going in that center.
Such a small footprint. You do have to be careful. There is like 3 heat temperatures on here. You probably don't want to be on the highest heat temperature here because you can melt your batting and your fusible or not your fusible, but your poly mesh or no-show mesh that's in there. So like the medium heat. So you do definitely want to be careful. And it has this cute little cubby that it sits into, but it's really nice. It will fit inside your hoop. It will do all kinds of different things. It's $50 or $60. I think full price.
Amazon, I think, had it for $40 when we looked the other day.
Yeah, so I like if you're looking for somebody to get you something and they don't know what to get you, or you want
nice
to have
thing. Yeah, we certainly have some other small irons
we do.
That are available, and we do have a small iron here. This one is smaller than the one that we carry here in store. And not to knock anything, those are all of the Cricut presses are very, very nice. And they are nice and heat adjustable to the point where you have the ability to do other things with them where, like the one that we have here is more specific to just doing things like this.
Yeah.
It's not intended for heat transfer vinyls and things like that, where this one has a little bit more versatile use.
Yeah, you can't put steam in it. But we have a ton of customers who have scan and cuts and things like that. And I did all of my little t-shirts and stuff that I did for when I went to Disney with the heat transfer vinyl. I did it with this little thing.
Are you kidding me?
I swear I did it with this. It was super easy. And I did it. I set it on my glass stovetop because it was hard,
right?
And it doesn't matter if it gets hot,
right?
And I was able to press it, and it worked beautiful. So it was
that little guy.
With that little guy, yeah, it was really easy.
I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, it really didn't take much time.
Wow.
It was it was really easy, but it was nice because I could move it around. I didn't have to pull out my big heat press and monkey with that. So I was trying it out.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, you can do a lot of different things. So if you have one of our scan and cuts and you like to dabble in little things, or you want to do little baby onesies or something like that,
yeah, it's definitely really nice for the little guys, no doubt.
So that is my other little tool that I use that is not something that we carry here, and I thought maybe you guys might like something like that. We obviously do a lot of these. And I don't iron anything but sewing stuff. Like I don't take the iron out to iron a shirt. I just put it back in the dryer. So the iron doesn't get used for anything else.
Yeah.
But
I have like a stack of washcloths you get wet and throw it in there.
Yeah. But I have like 4 or 5 different irons because I don't know why. It's not like I'm collecting them, but ended up with them for different reasons and trying different brands and things like that. But this one is a nice little multi-purpose, neat one. So I just wanted to share that with you. But I think that is it.
That's what we've got, ladies.
Our
maybe
tips,
gents.
Yes, our tips and tricks and our little recommended tools for our spring showers.
So hopefully that will clear up anything that you guys had question wise. And if it doesn't, you guys certainly know where to find us. And we do still have those in stock. We have kits for fabric in stock. We've got embellishment and books.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't started yet,
and thread kits,
we've got thread kits as
yep.
well. We've
you
got
can
the whole
get
shebang.
It all separate
We've
or
got
together.
everything that you could possibly need. If this is, if you were watching to see if it was something that you wanted to do and you were like, yep, that looks super cute.
Mm-hmm.
We've got it. So you can check that all out.
Yeah.
Feel free to give us a call or go to the website.
Yep.
So happy Friday. Happy weekend. Hope it stays warm because it looks like it's not going to stay warm.
No.
Here.
You just never know, right?
Never know. Y'all have a good one. See you next time.
Bye.